it really has you have you just perplexed. Like, what? So I need that go-go galimbo with it. What's it called? Girl. Anyways, so
Welcome to the
that's it.
Real on Parenting.
Mommy.
As we are having hot flashes. I got this doggone sweater on.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, you bold for that one.
It was cold like 3 seconds ago.
I was a tenth of a second ago, okay? That quickly went away when that thing went around your neck. Everybody was like, no, ma'am.
Y'all, Danielle is in rare form on this here day, okay?
Oh, Lord.
I will
Okay.
admit that I am often the cause of our shenanigans, not on this here day, but we are coming back with part 2 of when co-parenting ain't co-parenting. So,
it ain't co-parenting. It is not co-parenting.
So we're excited. We're excited to be back with you all. Uh Welcome to the Real on Parenting on KCCR Brownstone Worldwide. Let's go, Danielle. You start us off because I'm gonna be playing with you today.
All right. So kind of picking up from the first handful, because it's I'm pretty sure everybody would agree that there's more than 1,000. So,
Right.
that there's a good handful, but we try to pinpoint the most common difficulties. But
Right. And
challenges
we
with
could do a recap real quick. Like
oh yes,
from the
let's
last
do that.
episode,
Yes.
we what was it? Okay, we did lack of communication.
Yes, the inconsistencies of financial support. That's a nice way of putting it, y'all. Y'all know what that is, right?
It means
That's
they
child
not
support.
doing their
Okay.
part. So can I just interrupt real quick?
You sure
Because
can.
I was having a conversation with someone and he said, I don't ask her for stuff for her, excuse me, when I'm doing stuff with our kid, I don't ask her for anything. And I was like, but are you doing the wants or the needs? Right. And in the
There's a difference.
discovery, he was like, well, because it's sports stuff. And I'm like, that's not the need. So she asking for half of needs and you're saying that you don't ask for half of wants, that's
One.
not the
Different.
same.
Yeah, that's a
And
different math.
so,
Like she in the algebra and he in the geometry.
right.
It's still under the
But
math
he in the
umbrella, but
geometry, but he never passed like multiplication and division. So it's like, let's come back a little bit because you had a gradient that's too steep for you. So there's that. But the lack of financial support, it's been a theme I'm finding, and what is considered a
right.
fair amount versus, because even if, I was like, if she's asking you for half of dance and basketball, like if it's something that you guys agree on, that's fine. But if she's just saying, hey, I'm putting her in dance and you got to pay half, that's
That's
different.
different.
But she's literally asking for needs. Sir, open your wallet. So anyway,
or
all right.
zealous.
We
So,
had
all right.
disagreement on parenting styles. That was another one.
Yeah, the unwillingness of one of the parents, to participate in the child's life or just to show up. Okay, they not willing to show up.
Yes. And we had refusal to share information, right? Like medical, educational, the importance of.
Right. And then also um, not seeing eye to eye on the visitation schedule. That's a big one.
Yes. And then I think the last one we did was influence of negative behavior.
Yep.
Did we get them all? I feel like it's
We
one more.
did.
Maybe it's not.
I
We'll pick
feel
it up.
maybe we thought we was gonna do it, but given how long we had been talking, it was like, let's just save it for next time. We gave y'all a lot of information. So
All right.
here we are for today. So it's the challengings, girl, or men, excuse me. No disrespect, but the challenges
Right,
of
you talking to
introducing.
me. So yeah, girl.
I'm talking to everybody. So challenges with introducing new partners, and we have had a previous episode where we actually kind of talk about this in depth. So if you want to get more information as far as the breakdown of it all, we can look back at that episode, but that is a real thing. Does my dad, does my mom stay with this person who I don't like, or this person who has shown is not an adequate fit as a parent figure in my child's life? There is a difference between you liking a person for them being that person versus you're also liking that person because they are a good fit in the parental role of your children. Those are two separate things.
Yeah, you're gonna hurt some people's feelings. They're gonna log off.
I don't care.
Okay.
It's called The Real for a reason.
So what you're saying is there's a difference between I love this person and this is who I want to be in my life versus this person makes parenting easy because they do all the hard stuff. I don't have to do anything. Is that what you're telling me? Because that's what it's
saying that no, because it's not always.
Y'all hear her recorrect, like y'all hear her recorrect me without saying no.
You don't know what you.
Wait, it paused.
I'm like, wait, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there is a difference between you being drawn to and connect. Yes.
It paused, and so we missed a whole bunch.
Oh, it did? Yes. Okay. No, I was saying, no, I said Coach Kiana over there trying to put words in my mouth. That's not what I was saying. No,
maybe those are the words
that was her understanding. But let me just put it that way. That was her understanding. But let me clarify. But what I mean by that is that there is a difference between you being attracted or drawn to someone for who they are, for their own characteristics, physical, we have to be physically attracted to the person, their characteristics, but also there should be an aspect related to with this person that I'm possibly considering pursuing, are they actually an adequate and good fit for the parent role of my children?
Mm-hmm. But I think that we also have to consider, like, somebody can start off as a good, like, just like in relationships, right? Yes. They start off as a good person, and then we have to be honest about
be strong,
right? And we have to be honest about the transition from the representative to who they really are, and how that looks, because that can be an issue too. So when introducing them, we have to be mindful. Like, what's the time frame? How long should you be dating, right? Because I've known people that introduce. It's like, wait a minute, you got another significant other? Like, close the box, okay? So it's like your kids are meeting somebody every year, every 2 years. You might want to slow it down. No, let me rephrase that. Stop.
Yeah, right. I was about to say Stop. Yes.
Yeah, that was a challenge. So how Kayla's dad and I, we had an agreement. Like, before Kayla knows this person as your significant other, let's introduce, right? Because I think that that's really important. Let me lay eyes on this person. And I was talking to a friend, and she was saying her ex-husband never wanted to meet her first ex-husband. And I was just like, but his kids were over there. I didn't get that. I just did not get
it. That was a him thing. That's that stuff that he needed to address that was unresolved. Granted, I don't know their situation nor their story, and that is not my business. However, it's clearly shown that there was things that he had not addressed for himself. That
because I can't imagine my kid over there.
Right.
Baby, let me lay some eyes on you.
Even if it's just the friend of they're around my child, I need to lay eyes on them. Yes. They need to know that I exist. They need to see me.
Right.
Yeah.
Introduce folks. Now, if it's somebody that, just, they just happen to see the kid, okay, that's different. But if they're going to be a regular person, yeah, by all means, do the introduction. So I think that that's important that parents have that agreement, because your children are exposed to so much. And I mean, not just the person that the other person is seeing, but have you met the teachers? When are you going to take that step? Meeting the teachers, have you been to their church if y'all don't go to the same church? who are the people who are around? You know what I mean? Like I want to see. And I get it. A lot of people go, "Oh, I trust that they're parenting well and all that." That's all fine and good.
Well,
But
that
you
sounds
can't
good.
trust the people on the outside. Like let's talk
Right,
about
right.
that.
That sounds real good, but realistically speaking, that's not always the case. And so that kind of transitions to those hard truths. So like when you spoke about like, and the people may change over time, which is true. That happens just with dating in general. You're still
Yes.
learning that person. So making that difficult decision on, okay, does this person with how they're functioning as themselves now, are they still a good fit
Yeah.
for this unit? Because a unit includes your child, not just you. If it was just you, then this wouldn't even be a topic of discussion.
Right.
But with how my partner, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, how they're functioning, and then let's have some pinpoints, because sometimes people need a little bit of help. Is there
Right.
always an issue whenever there's interaction with my child or my children and my significant other? Is there some type of spat or disagreement or didn't see eye to eye or some confusion? If
Yeah.
all of that is consistent, then that's a big red flag
Yeah.
that this person may be nice for you as an individual, but just might not be the actual fit
For the family
for your
unit.
family, including your children.
Yeah. I did offer one time. I was like, let me find you somebody that all of us like. Let,
Let me do it for you.
let's do a dating reality show where your child's mother picks the significant. He was like, no, ma'am.
Well, given that the girls are a little bit older, might not be a bad idea. But
Right.
anywho, I'm just saying. So,
I think that would
so
be a great dating show.
it
Let me
would,
trademark
it
that idea.
would, right? It would. So, what's the next one that you have?
So differences in educational decisions. Um,
Mm,
there's as part of a parenting plan, some sort of legal documentation that there should be some sort of legal documentation that outlines how educational decisions are made. And don't be afraid. I know a lot of people are afraid to do mediation for disputes, right? Um,
don't be scared.
but
Like,
I think
it's
that
a
it's
helpful
very
tool.
helpful. Yeah,
There.
because so for instance, my daughter is 10 and she is in the sixth grade. When she graduates, she will be 16 when she graduates from high school. My
Mm-hmm.
goal is to start the process next year for her seventh grade year to make sure she's on track so that not only does she finish high school strong, but I want her to do dual enrollment because
Mm-hmm.
she, seventh grade, eighth grade, that's when your grades are starting to count,
They
right?
do.
And
Mm-hmm.
so
Right.
I want her to go into dual enrollment so that by 18, at the end of her 18 years,
Yeah, that's
she'll
it.
have her bachelor's degree as well. So she'll graduate
Oh,
16 with her diploma and her AA degree. She'll have her
right.
bachelor's at 18. It's not the age. Like I know people are like, oh, why are you rushing it? It's not that.
Right.
I'm trying to make sure that she is utilizing her time wisely. She doesn't have to work. Like I'm not stressing her out by making her think. I know y'all like to tussle on these decisions.
Yes.
But my goal is to have her as far advanced as possible as we can afford and as time will allow and that her social life will allow
Yeah.
because I believe in her having a social life. Like there are checks and balances that I am putting in place so that she doesn't feel like she's missed out on her childhood or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that. But she's
Mm-hmm.
already younger than her peers, so there's some things that she's not going to be able to do anyway, right? Like
Right.
her peers, a lot of her peers in middle school are already dating, ma'am. We
Yes.
will not, right?
Correct. Same
And
over here.
so
It's not an option.
right. And so there's an educational plan to fill that gap and to keep balances and all that. Now, her father, Kayla's dad, doesn't have a problem with it as of now, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's different when you're planning it. It's another thing when you're in the throes of it, right? And I think that that's
Right.
something that we have to be able to leave space for.
Right.
The decision for today may not be the best decision for tomorrow, right? Just like
Right.
the significant
Right.
other of today may not be the significant other of tomorrow. So
Or 5 years later.
or 5 years later,
Or
right?
10,
And
yes.
so, right. So it's like, this is the plan, but as the plan is in motion now, right? There's things that we may need to talk about. Who's going to pay for college? If I'm
Yeah.
making sure that
What is
she
that going
get
to look like?
through, I'm making sure she get the first 2 years of college out the way in high school. So is that my contribution? Is that, you know what I'm saying? Like those
Yeah.
are things that have to
Just
be
having that
discussed, because
conversation.
once she graduates, she'll still be a minor. So those
Right.
last 2 years of education, well, until she's 18, that let's talk about how we're going to pay for that. What is the plan when she goes to college? If she decides to go for her master's, are we helping her? Is she going to have to get a student loan? These are things that we should be discussing now, not waiting until she's graduating. And then she'd say, hey, college is another, I don't even know how much college is right now, but it
Girl,
don't
your
matter,
life
because in
and a
five
finger and
years,
a
it ain't going
toe.
to be that
Okay.
much. In 5 years, it's
Right.
going to be,
Right.
it's going to be probably another 3,000 per day. So,
Right.
so all those things we have to be able to discuss that. And
Mhm.
when co-parenting ain't co-parenting, we haven't discussed that. That's both parents'
Right.
responsibility to make sure that we can have this
Right.
discussion, and we can make sure that we agree and we follow the plan. That's not always easy,
And it's
particularly if both parents don't have a college education. Somebody might feel that it's not important. You understand what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like there's
yeah,
tons of things that have
yeah.
to be discovered and discussed. But if we don't start, if we are very much into, you know, music and entertainment, but we're never into the education of our kids, that is a parenting fail.
Yes, it is. Because it's not setting your child up for success,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody has their own opinion related to education, and that's totally
Yes.
fine. But setting your child up to where they have certain exposures and experiences and skills, that is the parent's responsibility.
Absolutely.
So that they're not in your house at 40. Okay. That you are raising them and assisting and guiding them on how to be. That make the
Not
Tiffany
you.
literally.
Yes, I'm like, not you helping parents get their kids out the basement.
So them adult children, right? So then get mad that they act five. But anyways, so but assisting and guiding them with becoming responsible adults. But something that I wish that we had in place as being when I say we, it's my husband and I, that we did have in place in regards to the academic aspect was some actual, look what you spoke of, some legal forms, because we had an experience where our children were signed up in with, well, I'm a bit of a scheduler, so their high schooling, all their classes was all what mapped out. When I say
Mhm.
mapped out, from the
Oh,
day
I
you
know.
started to the day you graduated, was all mapped out. And one of the parents, I'm putting it lightly, but one of the parents felt that that was not important as time passed. Initially, everyone was in agreement, but as time passed and things were going smoothly and kids were doing well academically, the perception or the importance changed in some of the views of the parents and took the kid out the class.
Oh.
When I say how did the fish grease, if there was another phrase to describe that, that's what that was. And it was like, well, one, where was the communication, right? If
Right.
you had a difference of opinion or you felt something wasn't as pressing, if you will, academically as it was in the very beginning, where did the conversation, where we just pulling kids out of classes?
Right.
What? You
Come back,
know?
Danielle. Come back. Come back.
Right. so so had there been a legal form in place, and some people may think, oh, I have to go down to the court. You don't necessarily always have to do that. It literally
Mhm.
can be you pull out a piece of notebook paper and write down, we all parties agree in the X, Y, and Z, and there you go. So I would say whenever you have an agreement on something, I would say to this magnitude, it's very important. I would say pull out a piece of paper and you guys sign it, and you guys, everyone was in agreement to these decisions.
Mm.
Just because you just never know. Things may change tomorrow, things may change 2 years from now. And that's totally fine. But when there isn't that communication that happens, that's where the challenges and the difficulties occur. So I just wanted to share that.
So I want to say with that, if you're the custodial parent, or maybe you have the legal
right
custody, right? Like you get to make all the legal decisions. Be mindful that the other parent still should have a say. Like they still consult them
Very true.
whenever. Now, if they're
Yeah.
absent most times, I get it. But if they are active, have those conversations, even if you are the custodial parent, even if
Yeah.
you are the parent who makes all the decisions. And sometimes that can be difficult to remember to do because you like, they don't participate in no decisions anyway. Like, why would I run it? But still run it
Because
through.
it's
Like,
still
it's just for the best interest, teaching your children how to communicate in a co-parenting situation, because none of us started off going, nah, I'm just be co-parenting. Like that's a situation that happened, right? So teaching our children, hey, this is how this is how we as a family unit, right? Me, you, the other parent, because the child makes us a family. So as a family unit, we're going to have this conversation.
Right.
And it's okay. Yes. It doesn't take anything away from you to have the conversation. I know somebody out there like, whatever, but.
Right.
All right, what's your next one?
Yeah, I mean, because we can talk about that forever because I'm starting to get flashbacks. But anyways, get your documentation together, okay? Always me. So the handling of a medical emergencies, things happen. And in the height of the moment, that parent is going to do what they feel is best in that moment. It may not necessarily be the same steps or decisions that the other parent may have made. Right. But there is a communication is always important, obviously, but there's a higher necessity, of consistent, ongoing communication, immediate communication. And let me say this. Sometimes in the moment, the situation really doesn't allow you to really call the parent to let them know. And I don't even want to say that's understandable because I'm speaking from a therapist perspective. However, as soon as you're able to, not when you want to, okay? As soon as you're able to, contact that parent to let them know, hey, this is what's going on. This is what's happened. This is what has been done so far. Because in emergent matters, sometimes you have to make decisions quickly because it can be life or death, or it can be a $20 copay versus $500. There's so many factors that contribute to certain decisions that are done in the moment. But that communication is needed. And then from there, so let's say that you do actually have a moment. You could say, okay, I'm en route versus ambulance taking them, to the hospital. Let me call, the father or the mom to say, hey, I'm en route here. This is where we're going. This is what happens. I'll keep you posted. If you have any ideas along the way, text them. But it's kind of like that ongoing conversation. And I'm gonna say this from this personal experience. When you are tending to, as a parent, the normal life things, the needs of life for your children, just because you did your responsibilities in taking care of the needs of your child doesn't mean like, oh, I paid for this, which is a need. So I'm not paying for that medical thing. What?
So you want them to stop this operation?
Right. So there are some parents who, and granted, everybody finances, but at the end of the day, the reality of it all is that your child needs things to live. That doesn't fall under the umbrella that, oh, I gave money. No, you're providing for your child because you are responsible for your child. When things pop up, this is not like, oh, they want to go to the mall. They want to go, they want to go to an amusement park. This is, there is a medical need that's happening at the moment. And we all know it's not going to be a $20 copay.
Ever. Girl, now, I do want to say, in the event of a medical emergency, if you are the parent who is not there, right? It doesn't matter
Right.
what your daily role is of custodial, non-custodial. If you are the parent who is not there,
Mhm.
don't expect the parent who is there to call and update you. Call for the updates. Call for the updates.
You
When
can, yeah,
we're
you
in
reach.
the thick of it, the last thing we're thinking about is making sure you're
That's
updated
true.
because we're trying to figure out what the doctor's saying.
All the things.
How
Mhm.
uncomfortable is our child? What's the level of pain?
Right.
We're dealing with our own emotions, right?
Yes.
We are in the thick of it. And so
Mhm.
you saying, oh, well, you didn't call me. You said you was gonna call me at 3:30 and now it's 6 o'clock. Well, guess what? I don't even know how much time has passed. What I know is that my kid is here, that there's pain, I'm trying to figure out nurses and doctors, and maybe you're not my support team. So maybe I'm calling my support team like, hey, mom, like this, I need you, right? But if you're the non-custodial not non-custodial, if
The
you're the
parent's
parent who
not
is
here.
not
Mhm.
there, like
Mhm. Yeah,
call and find
they
out,
can make
or
the effort.
assign somebody. Like, it's if I'm by myself, I can't assign my mom to make the phone calls and all that. I can't ask my dude to, hey, dude, you understand what I'm saying? But if they're there, they are
Mhm.
going to, and this is why relationships and co-parenting are so important, because my mother would say, let me call him. Did
Yeah.
you call him? Right.
Right. Right.
Um,
Right.
but
Mhm.
I think that sometimes we expect the person in the thick of it to do so
To
much,
do
and
it.
they're handling,
That's
that's why
true.
it's called a medical emergency, not,
Right.
procedures. Now, also, if you are the parent who don't show up to none of the stuff that's already planned, right? If there's a procedure, if there's a surgery, and you like, oh, I'll be there at the end, and I don't want to be there because they said that the surgery gonna take 5 hours, so I'll come after the surgery. Now, listen, if that's your stance, let that be your stance. And don't be asking me for updates.
Right. Right.
Because
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm counting every minute. I'm watching the clock. I don't have time to call you because I'm watching the clock. Right.
Right.
I
Right.
don't have
Right.
time to call you. So be mindful. I think that sometimes we forget in medical
Mhm.
emergencies, particularly when we start feeling guilty that we weren't there, when we start
Right.
feeling guilty
Yes.
that, oh my goodness, like this happened. And then let's just say, like, sometimes kids don't make it out of those surgeries. Now you feeling some
Mhm.
kind of way and you want to blame. Hold
Yeah.
on. Let's
Yeah.
let's let's step back and figure this out on a
Yeah.
reasonable level.
Right.
But whenever possible, just reach out. Find out what's
Yeah.
going on. Reach out and ask the questions.
And I was gonna say it's not the parents who's there, it's not their responsibility to hold emotional space for you.
Um,
So
please repeat that. And say it slow.
okay. So for the parent who isn't there, it is not the other parents who is there with your child or children. It's not their responsibility to hold emotional space for you. Translation. It is not their responsibility to be your therapist. It's not their responsibility to be your friend. It's not their responsibility to check in with you on how you feeling and how you thinking. You need to figure that out for yourself. So keep that in mind because don't get me wrong, when our children are hurt or whatever, everybody's emotions are high, everybody's
Yes.
emotions are all over the place. And I would say even much so for the parent who is there because of all those things that they are having to manage and figure out and problem solve and create plans, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So keep in mind that for the parent who is not there, you're in a position where you actually get to choose.
Right.
You get to choose. So choose wisely. For the parent who is there, they really don't have that option. They're
Right.
there. And they have to make, because the medical professionals, they're asking them, so what you gonna do? What have you decided? Your child, you're seeing them in distress. So
Yeah.
there's so many facets that are happening. So when you are contacted, but I'll say this as well, it is, that's what I said, when the parent who is physically there, when you are able to communicate, by all means, communicate. It could have been like, oh, it was a broken arm. Not that that's not horrible, but here our child is bandaged up, have a cast or a brace or whatever the case may be, they're good, we're going home. You know what I mean? So if you have the actual means to communicate, by all means, go ahead and do that, you know, especially on that initial, you know, no one, usually medical emergencies are not planned. So,
Right.
you know, initially letting that parent who is not there know what's going on. And then from then on, you know, the ongoing reaching out to seek, let me say this, don't be calling every minute on a minute. They can't even get a whole breath in before you calling again. Let some time pass, okay?
And tell your family members to call you. I don't listen. The
Oh,
person in the
wow,
thick of it
yes.
don't need 18 folks calling them for updates.
Right.
No. I'm gonna update you. You update
Right.
them. Let's not have all these folks calling me.
Yeah, and they're not the parent. Understand that our child
even
is
when
loved,
they the grandparent,
but it's not it's not the other parent's responsibility to communicate with the siblings, with the relatives. It's not. It's to communicate with you. So how you want to disseminate that information, that's up to you. So, but don't be ringing my phone. Don't know, because they will be locked. Anyways, so.
Hey there, parents. It's Coach Kiana Shaw here with my girl therapist, Danielle. We're excited. We want to make sure that you know about joining us on our lives. We will be going live on Instagram as often as we possibly can. We will be taking your questions. We'll invite you on live so that you can ask your questions and get real-time advice and answers based on what you give us, right? Because you know, we can only advise on what you tell us. But we're really excited to be doing this as an extension of the Real on Parenting here on KCCR. So get ready, be excited. Send us your questions. We'll talk to you soon.
What is the next? Going on to the next one. We gonna share a child together. But yeah.
So the next one is dealing with when a significant other wants a say, or a significant other who wants a say. I'm gonna go ahead and give a blanket statement here. No. We can move on to the next. No. Listen, I'm gonna say this. This is the part where people will probably get offended, and that's okay.
Yeah.
If you want to have a significant other who has a say, you need to marry them. Because and even still, there's a limitation, right? I don't have to honor your girlfriend. He doesn't have to honor my boyfriend in any situations. Now the spouse is a little bit different, but you know my saying: there's an egg and there's a sperm.
Right. There's the biological factor.
Those two make all the decisions. Now, for your household, right? My household may be, okay, my husband and I have this external factor of a family unit with Kayla's dad. So then it's like, okay, it's my job to talk with my husband. Hey, this is what I'm presenting. This is what he's presenting. I don't say, oh, you got to go talk to so-and-so. That's not how that goes. Because he don't have no kids with my so-and-so. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So if my spouse, not significant other, if my spouse has a concern or wants something to go a certain way, that's between he and I. And then I can say, okay, so here's what I would like. And I present it as, you know, dude and I talks. My dude, I just mean my husband, right? Because we don't have a name at this time because I ain't married. But but we spoke, and here's where we stand, right? Now, in saying that, I still have to be mindful that he might be like, I don't care about his position because this ain't
true.
Egg, sperm. So that's my job to go as, okay, this is what we discussed, and then present it in a way that that person can hear it, right? If we're not married, he don't have to consider your opinion at all. I don't care how long y'all been together. If you want that person to be honored as a step parent, then you need to do them the honor of making them your spouse. But if you don't do your part,
that was a word, okay?
Was it a word? Okay.
It was a word.
if you don't honor them enough to make them a spouse, or they don't honor you enough to make you a spouse, you
Yeah.
cannot ask the other person to consider their feelings. I don't care
Mhm.
if y'all been living together for 20 years.
Right.
It does not matter.
Right. That's a
Egg,
whole nother tobacco,
sperm.
okay? But right, right. No, very, very,
So
very
back to my
true.
original statement. No.
No, and I agree. You know, you hit on all the realistic points. Um, how long you've been in a relationship with someone does not default make you have privy to having to say so.
Absolutely.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
you may say so to your partner,
But don't come running up to the other
behind
to the
closed
other
doors,
parent.
but do not feel that you have a say so within the dynamic of parenting.
Yes.
And I'm the bonus mom. I know my role and I know my place.
Mhm.
And this is not something that I would say that just because I'm a therapist, I knew beforehand. No, you have to adjust. So if you
Yeah.
ain't quick on your feet or on your thought process, and okay, you know how they be doing in football, I can't do all that stuff with my feet. I'm gonna break my ankle. But that's literally how the co-parenting is. You know, when you are the step parent, when you are the bonus parent, it is really, really being realistic with yourself and your place within that dynamic of that relationship.
So let
And
me
that
ask you this,
Mhm.
because your husband has children, but from a relationship previous to you guys.
Yes.
So in that situation, as the bonus mom, right? Because he
Mhm.
honored you
Mhm.
to make you his wife.
That he
So
be mhm.
in that situation, how did you was it an adjustment like emotionally and mentally where you had to go, let me check me first. Let me like hold on, Danielle, because
A
that's
lot
egg
of
and
times.
sperm over there.
Yes, a lot of times, and for those who don't know me, and those who don't know my mama, man, an adjustment had to be had. Okay, so my parenting style was y'all saw the mamas. Okay, my parenting
Go back to
style,
that episode if you don't know.
yeah, well, my parenting style is different. You know, it's a good remix. Okay, of old school and educated. Okay, not to say my mom ain't educated. I'm just saying, but also within that, the education from the experience from the therapist perspective.
Mhm.
So, but when you have something that hits home and your emotions is tied to it, you know,
Right.
that therapist stuff go out the window, okay? For those times where there were things that were very triggering to me personally,
Mhm.
I had to have that come to Jesus moment. Like, okay, hold on, Danielle. Like, although this is going on, you are having some really, really, really strong feelings about this in general. Why? Let's get me together first, because the last thing that I won't ever do is let someone get me out of character. I
Right.
don't care what is going on.
I wish I was that
And
mature.
hmm,
I wish I was that mature.
you
But I
are,
will
you
say
are.
this. Listen,
Give yourself
honey, based on that last meeting, probably not.
no. But anyway,
I will say
y'all.
this. If
Anyways,
you sitting there right now listening to this and you going, whatever, I don't care. I'm the this, I'm, we may not be legally married, but we don't need a piece of paper. You know that foolishness.
yes,
Which
yes.
is
And if that,
I'm gonna say,
and
so let me
it's
say 2 points to that. If that's what you're
okay.
thinking, go ahead and get you some therapy. Go and sign up. You can reach out to therapist underscore Danielle and sign up. Make sure your
We
insurance is
gonna
on
have
point because she ain't cheap. All right. I forgot my second point, and it's probably a good thing. Let's move on.
okay. But to answer your question, yes, there were several times where I had to check in with myself first.
Mhm.
I had to, because one, I wanted to be a positive contributing factor to the
Yes.
family dynamic.
Yes.
Always. Always. Did it always
So
kind of like work
mature.
that way by default? No, there was twists and turns, but in the end, we all good. But within that, there was lessons learned. For
Mhm.
me, I know what my triggers are. I know what things where I'm like, babe, you got this. Because as Coach Kiana would say, I'm going to end up in jail. I know what my triggers are. Okay. I've come a long ways, but I still know what they are. So I know where I
We
can
still
step.
two girls from Compton.
I know where I can step and address and where I need to, I'm going to be over here and I got your back, babe.
Right.
Because if you need me in this moment, we don't flip roles. You know, usually I'm the one who got all the filters and all that and all the words. But within that, in the moment, you know, emotions are high. And I would check in with my husband. What do you need from me? Because sometimes it was just, I just need you here. And you don't need to say anything.
Yeah.
Cool. I didn't take offense to that. Or there was times where he would ask me to do certain things and I would say to him, babe, this is a parent decision. I can tell you my thoughts, which I already did. And, you know, but it is ultimately you and their mom's decision. What are you guys going to decide?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of humbling moments. It's a lot of just being real with yourself. But proceeding with that in mind. Like you said, it's not like, oh, I'm 20 years in. And
right.
And just because you got a ring, where's the legalities? Anyways, but you get what I'm saying.
Now I remember that point. See, now you done brought me because I know a lot of people who feel like we don't need a piece of paper to make it legal. And it's like, but you do. Just like you need the deed to the house. Just like you need the title to the car. Right?
Yes.
And stop letting people convince you that you don't need that piece of paper when you don't want to be listed in his obituary or her obituary as a loyal companion like you a German Shepherd. Okay.
What Coach Kiana said. Yeah, and also just keep in mind if there's, when you're dealing with legal matters, you can't go up to the judge and be like, I got a ring, and the judge will look at you like, and?
Right.
That's okay. So keep that in mind as well to put you in check. But anyways, we digress. All right. So,
especially for y'all who bought your own ring. Okay, so I'm gonna throw another one out there because I feel like we.
Oh Lord. Right.
Disputes over discipline.
But I think that's another show.
I'm jumping the gun here. Disputes over discipline. I'm gonna go ahead for my next one because I felt like I needed to say something and I needed to change the subject. When co-parenting, you have to agree on how discipline is administered, right? What methods are we using? Are we using discipline and punishment? Are we using only discipline? Are we not doing
nothing at all?
Are we not doing nothing at all? Right? But I would say make it a part of your parenting plan. Because when people get upset and they start doing what they want to do, you need to be able to be like, no. Remember, the judge signed off on this, right? Or listen, remember, we signed off on this, so we didn't have to go before a judge.
Right.
But if we throwing this to the wind, then let's just bring everything into question and do so. Because I'm not for like threatening with court. I'm not for that. The purpose of the parenting plan originally, right, without the judge's signature, is this is what we agree on, and this is our Bible, so to speak, right? Policy and procedures manual. This is what it is. And when we can't abide by this, that's where the issues start. That's where, we have to be able to discipline, agree on the discipline, or agree not to discipline, which, I don't suggest that at all. But how we're going to go about this. What happens if there's serious disagreements? You know what I'm saying? Do we put our kid in therapy? Do we go seek therapy? Like, what is going to be our method for discipline? Because especially when there's significant others involved, do they get to discipline? What does their discipline look like? Because what a lot of people think is discipline is really punishment. And we have a show on that in the first season. But making sure that they understand, because the minute you hit my kid, you're going to be met Remember, I'm legalist, y'all. You're gonna be met with no, not probably. You're gonna be met with immediate violent consequences. So let's be mindful, right, of what the parenting plan is. How are we agreeing to discipline? And then we need to make sure that we are sharing that information with our significant others.
Yes, yes, yes. And then also speaking to the fact of you may have a parent who is very realistic and rational and understanding on the way in which that they discipline when they have to their child. But you may have the other parent who doesn't agree with any of it. Or you may have a parent where that happened at your dad's house. That happened at your mom's house. So you get disciplined there. You didn't do that here.
Right. And
then
if it's something that's really egregious, like, does the punishment at mom's house stand at dad's house? Because sometimes the other parent is like, I only got him for the weekend. No. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But it also could be, hey, you know what? This is pretty bad. And yeah, you still on punishment here too. Like, yeah, we're gonna go do some things, but your phone still goes away. We're gonna still go do some things, but this is where we draw the line on this, because what you did was out of line. And I think sometimes parents go, well, that happened at your dad's house. If we're not doing it here because you don't like dad, but that don't mean that your child ain't supposed to be disciplined based on this situation.
Right.
Now calm down. Like the father still spoke. Like, it's okay to honor that and not, stand strong and wrong.
Girl, please do not stand strong and wrong. You need to say that again. You need to say the whole phrase, because I don't think my ears, you know how your ear go like, wait, what? I think some people didn't even notice that, because they do.
Listen, the way my perimenopause is set up, once I say it, you like go press rewind. You got to press rewind. Go back into the show.
Y'all go back and watch it, okay?
But don't stand strong and wrong. I know that part. There's the part that I said before that, child, listen, that's gone.
Right.
Okay. All right, give us another one there.
So, handling of extracurricular activities. So it's all great and dandy when they're in football and track and cross country and basketball and ballet and drawing and all these great things. May have parents where we're putting, where they make the decision themselves, to put their child in these activities. And sometimes it is the agreement of both parents. You have to remember, or you should remember, I won't say remember, you have to address and agree upon what is that going to look like in regards to both parents getting the child there, practices, uniforms, because evidently they have more than one, shoes, the under the umbrella of your children participating in these activities. What is the expected role of each parent? So I experienced where it's like, oh no, the kids are with me this weekend. I didn't sign them up for this, so they're not going. I'm not taking them. Right. And the child clearly is like, but I'm going to miss my thing. And like, I want to go. So then that creates a situation within the family that had nothing to do with the child, but unfortunately impacts the child fully.
Absolutely. And I think that we ought to be mindful of that, because when they signed up, did you agree? Now, if you didn't, I understand. But if you did, stick to the agreement. You don't get mad and then be like, we're not going. No, somebody else paid for that. Take the kid.
Yeah. Or because it doesn't align with, or it conflicts with what you have going on or what you want to do. Well, hello, parenting is a lot of inconvenience if you haven't figured that out by now, okay? It ain't never like, where can I fit into your schedule, mama? Where can I fit in your schedule, daddy? That would be so nice. Parenting is so disrespectful, just so inconsiderate. Just popping up like, hey, I'm here, handle me. What? Like...
And here's the thing, it's necessary inconveniences, and it's not that we're complaining about being parents, right? But it's still like, dang, like I was going out of town, but my kid broke his ankle, so now I'm not,
right.
It's full of inconveniences. Parenting is full of things that you don't want to do but you need to do for the well-being, right? Relationships are full of inconveniences. I don't always want to go out. I'm a stay-at-home person, right? But I gotta go if I want the relationship to thrive and all that. So let's just be mindful.
Yes.
All right. Do your last one.
All right. So coping with emotional strain on the child. I feel that could be a whole show in itself.
Yes, it could.
I'll give the nutshell of it all. I'll say this. Parenting should never be a stressor, a worry, or a concern for children. Your children should never be put in the middle or feel that they need to be the spokesperson.
Yes.
For whatever is going on, also between the parents. This is very damaging and hurtful.
Right.
From mental, emotional, and unfortunately, sometimes physical to the children. This is not their shit.
Oh, y'all got
it's yours. It is yours. And I'm saying yours as the parent. And it's not for you to, as a parent, you cannot tell your child what they feel.
Facts. You
cannot. You are not them. Because of what you said or what you did or did not do, you feel this should not have that should not have make your child feel that way. But it did. So then now what are you going to do? Right. What self-accountability are you going to take to address the distress that was caused on your child by way of your action or lack thereof?
Yes. And we got to be fair. We got to be fair. Sometimes, that emotional strain is caused directly by us as parents. Sometimes that emotional strain is, what they're going through at school, and it still has to be addressed, whether it happened at your house or whatever. And when addressing it, it's not fair to come with the venom to the other parent. Sometimes you just have to share that thought. This is what or not the thought, the facts. This is what's happening. One thing I realized in dealing with Kayla's dad, the messenger matters, right? And so there was a situation, and as I was praying about it, God was like, the reason why Moses had to tell Pharaoh, I am sent me, is because the messenger matters.
It does.
If you know that this other person can't hear you, bring in the mediator, bring in someone that they trust, right? Bring in someone that's mutual, that you guys can talk to. Because at the end of the day, that emotional strain on your child is the most important part. How do we end that? How do we take that off? How do we make sure that we are not contributing in the cause and all that? If we just keep our child first, everything else should fall into place. And that's the big thing, just keeping our child first and letting everything else happen. All right. You got any closing thoughts? I said all I had to say.
I think we both was emotionally charged on this one, but I ain't got nothing else to say.
Was I emotionally charged? I wasn't trying to be.
At least I have my moments for me. So, anyhow, my children grown, okay? So I can only imagine if you in the thick of it, girl. Dude, bro.
But I smile. Not because I'm phony, but because I'm teaching my daughter how to deal with idiots.
Well, and then there's the message. Right.
So okay, I was like, honey, you gonna spend a lot of days in your adult life going, ain't no way this person on the same level as me. No, you did not take the same test I took to get into this school, to get into this job. Mm-hmm. Who is your auntie or uncle? Because ain't no way you deserve this spot right here. It happens.
Right. Right.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us here on the Real On Parent KCCR Brownstone Worldwide. We love y'all. Feel free to drop us a note at therealonparenting@gmail.com.
All right now.
And you can reach me on Instagram, Coach Kiana Shaw, and you can reach Danielle. You got to say it yourself because I forgot it just that
Yes,
quick.
no, it's therapist_Danielle.
There we go. So, and if you need therapy, go on to reach out to her.
No, but don't be telling people that, there's a process to it all. But, if you are needing resources, the way I'm being funny, but if you are needing resources and support, access to it, please reach out. Yes. Don't
Yes,
DM
absolutely.
me, email. Okay. Let's follow directions.
Email. Okay. All right.
Yes. Yes.
All right. And we will talk to y'all soon. Thank you for joining us on The Real on Parenting.